Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. We are constantly streaming stories every day of entrepreneurship, business, leadership. Very important in this economy to understand how people are changing and adapting to this economy. Our next guest has been on before because he's an award-winning guest, not from me, but in general by his own peers, which he'll talk about. And also, I think with the economic changes going on, new tax laws, very relevant. David Appel, managing partner, Appel Advisors. Welcome back, David.
Thank you, Jeff. We much appreciate it.
So David, first of all, you want to tell us about this wonderful award that you did receive? You were quite unique to this process.
No, I really appreciate that. Yeah, recently in May, I received the Boston Estate Planning Council's Excellence Award, which recognizes somebody within the Boston estate planning community around estate planning. And I was particularly proud by it as the award's been given out the last 30 years, but I'm only the 5th life insurance agent to receive the award since 1990. So it meant a lot to me.
You also must be one of the youngest, correct?
Yeah, somewhere they've changed that a little bit. It used to be a kind of a career achievement award back in the day. And I think over the last 4 to 5 years, they've tried to change that and not make it like a lifetime achievement award, but more just a recognition. So the age has gone down a little bit, in the last 5 years, I would say.
Well, you know what we like to say about you, David. We lowered the bar for you.
Exactly. That's unique to me.
So there's a couple of things happening in the economy that you're trying to help entrepreneurs with. You want to get into them?
Sure. I mean, just some of the key points we're dealing with, right now, and it's coming up with Biden's tax proposal since he's become president, and it was talked about through the campaign. But he's really looking to, change up and bring down some of the exemptions and some of the amounts of money, talking about increasing in taxes and passing on higher taxes to the wealthy, which for a lot of successful entrepreneurs, it plays into their game, whether they're the entrepreneur, the private equity or venture capital partners that are backing them. They just really need to think about wealth transfer as they move forward, and proper planning, proper structure, how they designate ownership on their shares, how they handle ownership of their company, and think about themselves and the next generation. When it comes to wealth transfer, and a lot of times we come into the picture because people look to life insurance at that stage to create a block of capital that can be used to help with the wealth transfer to the next generation.
A lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm not saying they're right, they'll say to me, I'm not ready yet. And the fact that these entrepreneurs don't control the tax code or God's wishes, if we'll call it, that's not a very good answer, is it?
No, it's not. And, I get sometimes that I don't believe in life insurance, and I have to remind them that it's not a religion, to believe in or not. One of the key things, though, Jeff, when it comes to this planning, and I just talked to a client recently about that, is that and we know that tax codes are going to change. I've been in the business for 28 years. I've seen exemptions go to zero for a period of time, and you can transfer an entire estate with no tax. We've seen the numbers as low as 600,000, and now we see an exemption for an individual as high as 11 million plus. They're going to change. But one of the positive things is a lot of the planning that we do and the stuff that we put into place, even if the tax codes change, this planning is still good for them, still good for their families, still good for their businesses. So we know that the taxes in the presidencies and in the politicians are going to change over time. But if we put a solid plan into place, most of the time that plan is good no matter what the tax code is.
My next question, it really has to do with, and I brought it up with you before. It's not typical again for me in private business to see families without buy-sell agreements. And I was wondering what you think about things like that. I think it's a big mistake when they're not prepared for those things, because you're leaving everything open to family fighting.
Yeah, we see a few things, and there's a couple of key points when it comes to buy-sell agreements, and and then depending on the number of partners, whether and people also have to realize that a buy-sell is really one of the mistakes I see is either one is they have the legal document in place, but they never put insurance policies in place to actual do the buyout, or they have the insurance policies in place and don't have the legal document to go along with it, which is also a problem. So they need to do both. And they really, depending on the business, need to think about it from a life insurance and a disability standpoint, meaning that if the partner becomes disabled and can't work, it's also just as important if the partner passed away and didn't work. And then thinking about being in a relationship or being in a business relationship with your partner's spouse, which could also be a difficult situation. But when it comes to buy sells, they need to be put into place with a legal document, so there's actually direction as to what happens to the insurance funds when they come in. They need to think about whether, besides the insurance for the buyout of the value of the shares, they should also be thinking about key person insurance at the same time. Meaning that, like I recently met with a gentleman whose key salesman generated 80% of his sales, of his revenue. That person should be insured. He's the back office guy. The salesman is generating 80% of the business. That it's a big mistake if that guy is not insured for that individual. So yeah, I think you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's when it comes to that. But you're right. I mean, too many times it's left open and it's difficult. Or I know you deal with a lot of family businesses. And I'm dealing with a real estate family right now too, where we did a bunch of insurance and we did some stuff on the son and the dad, because the son's really concerned that once dad dies, dad's the one who's gotten the credit lines, dad's the one who's gotten the loans at the banks, dad's done all that stuff. Can the son pull that same weight with these bankers as his dad did? Maybe not. So he might need some capital when dad passes away to be able to continue to do stuff until he proves himself that he can get those same loans that his dad did.
So as we go into 2021-22, we know we're going through a lot of economic transition. Is there anything else that you think entrepreneurs need to be looking at right now?
Well, one of the big things in Biden's tax plan is an elimination of a step up in basis for capital gains, and capital gains taxes being, so there, it's kind of a double-edged sword right now with his proposal, where right now a married couple could protect almost $23 million, without having a federal estate tax on passing an estate to their family. If he's talking about with Trump's law, that law sunsets in 2025. So that number is going to come down to an inflation adjusted number, which is around 5.5 million. So maybe a married couple can protect 11 million in a few years. Biden's proposal is to bring it down to 3.5 per couple, or 7 million. So that's a big change. Like I recently just did a plan was for somebody where I showed him today his estate tax liability is 4.5 million. In 2025, it's 16 million. It quadruples in 4 years. So people really need to do that planning. And again, if they're talking about exemptions coming down and the elimination of step up in basis for capital gains going up, there's a lot of taxes to be had, never mind, just straight on income taxes and things that Biden's proposed to change. So people just really need to start thinking about the planning and how they structure things going forward.
Strategize, don't react. I guess that's the word of the day from you. We've been speaking with David Appel, managing partner, Appel Advisors. David, if someone's looking for you, needs some advice, someone to talk to about how to prepare for the future and today, how would they find you?
They could go right to our website, appeladvisors.com, APPELADVISORS.com. There's a schedule appointment button in there. They can do that. They can send me an email to support@appeladvisors.com, or just give us a call at 617-332-7900.
And even more than that, going viral, David Appel. You can find him on the Radio Entrepreneurs website at radioentrepreneurs.com, and LinkedIn, Radio Entrepreneurs, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, at Biz on the radio, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. You didn't know you were going to go viral from this. So, David, thanks for being on the show today. And as you know, always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it, Jeff.
I remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.